Hi YouTube, it's me, the Shy Pianist, or you may know me as Donald of Zephyr Wargames. This time I'll be bringing you another deck profile. So as you can see here, one sleeve of every deck I own. So this time I'll be bringing you, as with the number order, I'll be bringing you deck number 4, IU, and she is my Harpie deck. So just the standard usual. My decks are made for fun, generally. So a lot of these are made for fun. If you want to make them more competitive, by all means use the sort of deck core and then build upon there. And there'll be a second part video where I'll go over the sort of combos, the history and the sort of background, so you get to know how the deck came to be, and sort of what other text you can put in instead. So on to the deck profile. So let me just zoom in a bit there. Also, apologies if the camera quality is a bit bad. It seems to happen whenever I like to zoom in into stuff on the map. Okay, so starting straight off with the deck profile, I played the triple Harpie Lady 1 rather than any the vanilla or Cyber Harpie. This is because her effect allows you to buff all your wind monsters' attack by 300 points, and as always, it's treated as a Harpie Lady. So this is sort of the main card, but as with the next card, which is probably the playmaker of the deck, which has to be triple. I play triple Harpies Channeler. Now her effect allows you to discard a Harpie card to then special summon a Harpie monster from your deck and face up the fence. And if you control a dragon type monster, this card's level becomes 7, and this card, as always, becomes Harpie Lady while on field or graveyard. So essentially it is your basic XYZ play, always go to into it and always try and get this in hand and start off with it. Next, with also follow suit with Channeler, I play the triple Harpist. The best card to discard off with Channeler. Her effect is, if you normal summon this card, you can target one winged beast monster you control, other than itself, and one face-up monster your opponent controls, and you return both to hand. And her second effect is, during the end phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can add one level 4 winged beast type monster from your deck to your hand that has 1,500 less attack or so. And you can only use each effect, only one of her effects. So if you use the normal summon, you can't use the search in the end phase, and vice versa. Okay, next, for the other Harpie cards, I play the one Dancer. People may argue you probably should try and play this at her at 2. Her effect is you can target one wind monster you control, return it to the hand, and then you can normal summon one monster, normal summon one wind monster, and you can only use this effect once per turn. And this name becomes a Harpie Lady while on field or graveyard. So the reason why I play at 1, I don't exactly want to see her in hand or and such, but I only want to have her when either special summon from Channeler to go into rank 4, or probably just to discard off and from Hysteric Party and such. She's great to play at multiples at 2 or 3 if you're playing cards like Divine of the Strong Wind, the field spell, sorry, just escaped me on the top of my head, that allows you to then special summon from your deck if a monster is bounced back to your hand. So I play the 1, and I also play the one Harpie Queen. You probably can bump this up to 2 if you want to see your search your Harpie's hunting ground. She is her own effect is you discard her to add Harpie's hunting ground and becomes Harpie Lady while field on graveyard. And while being a 1,900 beat stick and the biggest one of the lot, I go for 1 because I like to you want to sort of see her like either decide to use for attack points or discard her for Harpie's Hunting Ground. Having her more than 2 for me is a bit tight. That's because I've actually made room for other sort of my own personal tech and sort of stuff like that. But yes, if I would recommend if you want for more pure build, go with playing this at 2 or 3. And to special summon from Channeler, I go with 2 Harpies Pet Dragon. Reason why I play 2 is that if you do have it in your hand, Channeler can't just special summon it. So I have the one and have 2 just in case you have that situation. I also have other cards which will sort of put it back into the deck just in that situation arises. But my go-to choice when going with Channeler is Harpie's Pet Dragon to then go into a rank 7. Okay, and for the last Harpie card, monsters, I play 2 Harpie's Pet Dragon. So while Pet Dragon gains 300 attack and defense for each Harpie lady on the field, Pet Dragon gains effects equal to the number of Harpie ladies on your side of the field. So while it has 1, so let me just, it's just been a while since, okay, so while you have a 1, while this card is face up on the field, your opponent cannot select monsters on your side of the field as attack target. That include Harpies in the name. So basically, your opponent must attack Harpie Pet Dragon. While you control 2 or more Harpie ladies, its attack and defense is doubled, the original attack and defense. And if you have 3, once per turn, you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls. So I like to play this as because you're probably going to be most of the time swarming with Harpie ladies, and having Pet Dragon is really nice to have in handy. Now, the other monsters I play in this deck are sort of like personal choices. Starting straight off, I have the 1 Armored Bee. Its effect is you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and that target's attack becomes half until the end phase. Now, while it's basically a worse Gale, because it's not permanent, Armored Bee is in fact a wind attribute monster, and is a level 4 as well. So taking into account, I use that just to beat over things more effectively, because Harpies in a sense don't have a lot of beat sticks, or essentially Queen is their best one to go for in terms of level 4, but if you can attribute summon Pet Dragon out, that's really not the way to go with it. So B is a sort of effective way to get over stuff in a sense. And I play the 1 Flying Kamakiri 1. If it's destroyed by a battle and sent to your graveyard, you can special summon 1 wind monster with 1,500 or 1,500 or less attack from your deck in face up attack. You can put this at 2, but generally you kind of just have it as an insurance anyway, and that's all I really use it for. I generally go into either Channeler or the next card, Hunter Owl, and go from there onwards. So the last monsters I play in the deck is 2 Hunter Owl. Now its effect is it gains 500 attack and 500 attack for each face-up wind monster you control. And while you control another face-up wind monster, your opponent cannot select this card as an attack target. So being 1000 attack, you can special summon from Flying Kamakiri 1, making itself basically instantly 1500. And for every wind monster you can draw, on top of that, basically, you can buff it up to a grand total of 3500. Now, reason why I play 2 is because for the attack lock, essentially, preventing your opponent from attacking. So while you have both of them out, your opponent can't essentially attack your monsters, because they're all wind in this deck. So that's sort of my personal choice to go with, and the fact that it's a wing beast also gains the buff from Harpie's Hunting Ground. The fact it's a level 4 is great synergy to go into rank 4 plays, and generally overall I like to use this card as well. So that's the monsters. Onto the spells. So we'll probably start off with the Harpie based spells. So I played the triple Harpies Hunting Ground. This is the field spell for the deck. Very nice to have. So whenever Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal summoned or special summoned to your side field, or to the field actually, you destroy one spell trap on the field. It is mandatory, so if you don't have anything else to destroy, you have to destroy itself. And its other effect is all Wind Beast monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Yeah, that's the field spell. Next, I play the 2 Elegant Egotists. You activate a special summon 1 Harpie Lady from your deck while you control Harpie Lady. Pretty standard. You use this to go into to special summon out Harpie Lady 1, as it's always treated as a Harpie Lady, and that's much to be said, really. Oh, just bump the camera. So next, I play 2 Hysteric Sign. I originally was going to play this at 1, but yeah, from talking to my friend Danny, who does main Harpie Ladies as his main deck, he told me to play this at 2 definitely, because not only if you activate it you get to grab your Elegant Egotist, but the fact that if it gets destroyed you can then add 3 Harpie cards, 3 Harpie cards with different names from your deck to hand. Which is really combos really well with the field spell, so you can go field spell, normal summon. You have to set this if you want to destroy it this turn, because if you activate it to add Elegant Egotist, you can't search free if it gets destroyed the same turn. So just like Harpies, you can only use one or the other effect, essentially. And yeah, overall it's a really nice card. Now on to staples. I played the 1 Monster Reborn, one Dark Hole and the 1 Raigeki. Board wiping is essential for Harpies, as they can face tough monsters that can't really be over, but allows them to OTK a bit more effectively, and Monster Reborn is a must-have anyway. As for the rest of the spells, so this is my personal choice for this sort of thing. You have 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. While you have the Harpies Hunting Ground, you can play Twin Twisters, but you're going to be discarding for other cards instead, mainly for like Channel or Hysteric Party. So playing Twin Twisters can be a bit more riskier, or you can play Cosmic Cyclone if you so wish to. Sort of fun stuff that I play Swords and Burden of the Mighty. Burden reduces your opponent's monsters' attack by 100 times their level. So as I mentioned before, Harpies generally have a hard time to be over unless you can accumulate them effectively onto the field. And Swords is there for the sort of 3-turn stall. And reason why I also like to mention for go with these cards is that if you play your field spell and you do summon Harpies, you can pop these to then sort of take the place of what you wouldn't have wanted instead. But admittedly, you can easily take these out, put in like your sort of hand traps and solemns and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the sort of preference I went with. And last but not least, I played the 1 Magical Mallet. So as I mentioned before, if you do have like Harpie's Pet Dragon in your hand, but you sort of need it back in deck, this is the means to go about it. Or generally, if you feel like you need to sort of search out or put stuff back into your deck, Magical Mallet is the way to go. And yeah, that's what I went with. So next, onto the traps. I play 3 Hysteric Party. You activate this, discard 1 card to then special summon as many Harpie Ladies from your graveyard as possible. And if this card is destroyed, you then destroy all the Harpie Ladies that were special summoned by this effect. So you activate, discard, special summon, and that's what it really does. And then if you sort of use all your Harpie Ladies to then link or XYZ summon, this becomes dead on your side of the field. So to compensate that, I do play the one Gravel Storm. It is something that I felt that is a nice sort of tech to use in conjunction with Hysteric Party. Gravel Storm's effect is you target one spell trap on each side of the field and then return them to the hand. So it's kind of like a mini giant Trunade, but you target. It effectively allows you to then recycle and reuse Hysteric Party, or you can even use things, reuse Hysteric Sign. Because I found myself like activating Hysteric Party, but then like wishing to like reuse it while not having to clog up the space. And Gravel Storm was a tech that I decided to go with as such. Probably the best trap, though I have been meaning to try and sort of figure out to play more copies of this card. I mean, to be fair, yeah, you could argue that why don't I just replace the Swords and Burden with this card? May choose to, probably would advise you to do play more of this card, which is Harpie's Featherstorm, the latest support card, and its effect is if you control Wind Beast type monster, until the end of the turn negate that monster. Any monster effects your opponent activates, and if you control a Harpie monster, you can activate this card from your hand, which is brilliant for Harpies. Definitely play this at 2 or 3, because it's basically a effect feather, but just all your opponent's monsters. So yeah, I probably would have to consider just taking out the Swords and Burden out, because in this sort of day and age that you want to negate your opponent's monster effects, play this as much as possible. Plus you can search it with Hysteric Sign. Now its last ability is that if this card is in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can add one Harpie's Feather Duster from your deck to your hand, or deck or graveyard to hand. Now we haven't got Harpie's Feather Duster, and I doubt in any time soon, unless you're playing in like Highlander, traditional format, unlimited format, adding Harpie's Feather Duster is the way to go. But yes, I play the one. Definitely, from my experience of playing this deck, play it at 2, or even play it 2 and 3, essentially. And to round out the traps, it's sort of a generic back row, one bottomless trap hole, and the one mirror force. Bottomless can be easily replaced with your Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, etc. Mirror Force is there so that, because once you've got your Harpies on field, you play the Mirror Force to obviously clear your opponent, or you can go with Quaking or Storming, because you just want to clear them off the board. Quaking is because for the extra deck you have monsters that can attack directly and such. Okay, so moving on to the extra deck, so that's the deck. Moving on to extra deck, so the rank 7s I play for the targets when going Channeler. I play one Red Ice Flare Metal, burning for your opponent's game. Doing a lot of damage with him is very handy. Big Eye to then obviously take control, but it may not be as effective now in Lynx. Draco Attack is probably the better one to go with, because allowing you to then special summon 2 wind tokens and then go for a link on there. Until we get Bladefly, which actually I do have proxied in the deck. So for the rest of the XYZs, you generally sort of go with a rank 4 toolbox. So you have your sort of staples, the Dark Rebellion for beating over Beatsticks, Today Dragon for back row, Castell for shuffling back in any problematic cards, 41 to then, obviously turn 1 play, and number 82, I go with it number 82 because it allows you to attack directly, and if you have the field spell in play, it can't be attacked, essentially. And but the other mentions to talk about is like Diamond Direwolf and Cowboy for Game, as always. So now on to the sort of more specific rank 4s. I play the 2 Lightning Chidori, great in Harpies. requires 2 wind monsters. When you summon it, you can target one set card your opponent controls, and then you return that to the bottom of the deck. And then its second effect, you detach to target one face-up card on the field. One is not on the field. One card your opponent controls, and put that to the top of their deck. It's really nice to play, and probably arguably the best Wing Beast rank 4 is Ice Beast Xeraphine. Once per turn, it requires 2 Wing Beasts, and its effect is once per turn you detach material from this card. You then negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent controls, and if you do so, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card currently on the field, except for this one. These effects are negated until the next end phase. And last but not least, for the rank 4s, I play the one Harpies Phantasmal Dragon. Requires 3 wind monsters, and its effect is its effect can only be applied when you have materials. This card can attack directly, and your opponent cannot target any Harpie monsters with effects or for attacks. And during the end phase, your end phases detach 1 material from this card. So when I mentioned about quaking, this is the means to sort of attack directly on top, and you can then basically press for 6,000 damage with it by itself. And last but not least, onto the link monsters. So a shout out to Joe. Borrowed Dragon has to be now a staple in every deck I play, being a great 3k beat stick. Able to just non-target steal and reduce 500 attack and during like either player's turn. So Borrowed, when you're able to like effectively summon like lots of Harpies onto the field, Borrowed Dragon is a means to sort of give the Harpies an extra power boost on top of that. Now, as I mentioned before, I would play 2 Great Fly when it comes out. So I do mention that these are actually proxies. They're paper proxies. They are not actual cards as of yet. They're simply to represent the card when it comes out. So Great Fly for all of us wind players, or to be fair, I play all sorts of decks. Great Fly is a great card for the deck, requiring only 2 wind monsters and buffing all your wind monsters attack and defense by 500, as well as lowering earth monsters attack and defense by 400. But obviously when it's destroyed, you can then add 1 wind monster from your graveyard to hand. So at the moment of time, obviously if you're planning to sort of build the deck now, I would probably play the Utopia package instead of them. Or probably, other generic link monsters. But we haven't really got anything that sort of is generic at the moment, so I would advise something like the Utopia package instead. So that is it with the deck profile. Let's see, I'll be covering obviously the sort of combos you can do with the deck, or plays, and do some test hands with the deck. So thank you for watching, I hope you liked it, and as always guys, happy doling!